Yeah, welcome again to today's session. In the last class, we had referred to the problems as type 1 problems. What are type 1 problems? So here, in type 1 problems, the circuits will have only the voltage sources. See here, these are the sources that we had. Okay, and in particular, there is no current source in type 1 problem. Understand that there are no current sources, only voltage sources are there. Let there be any number of voltage sources, but there should not be any current sources. That is what I refer to as type 1 problem. Now, in type 2 problem, what's happening is there will be a current source. Everybody understand that? There will be a current source along with the voltage source, but that current source should be on the boundary of the circuit, connected on the boundary of the circuit. Okay, I'll be showing you what it means. Everybody's okay with this? Okay, what we are doing is we are considering the type 2 circuits. In network theory or network analysis, they don't categorize like type 1 and type 2. Okay, but it would be easier for us to refer to these circuits if we name them category wise. Okay, so the first type 1 problems are those which don't involve any current sources. Type 2 problems are those which involve current sources on the boundary of the circuit along with the voltage sources. Okay, so let's see how that circuit looks like. For example, see here, let's consider this circuit. So there is a voltage source, see, okay, a resistor, another resistor, okay. Here you have a current source. Is this okay with you, everybody? You have a current source. Now, this current source was missing in the previous problem. In type 1, this was missing. Okay, only voltage sources were there. So, if there is a current source, is it going to be easier for analysis or difficult for analysis is what we need to understand. Okay, so again, this is a mesh analysis problem only. In mesh analysis problem, we are considering the circuits wherein along with the voltage sources, the current sources are involved, but the current sources are there on the boundary. Boundary means what? See, this is the boundary. This is the boundary. Let me show you that. See here, this is the boundary that I'm talking about. Everybody okay with that? See, it is not in between any of the two meshes. Or we can say on the boundary, if there is a current source, this would be belonging only to one particular mesh. It would not be belonging to two meshes. If this current source is there in this branch, getting that? If this current source is there on this branch, okay, it is not on the boundary. And in other words, it would be common to mesh 1 as well as to mesh 2. But since it is on the boundary, okay, it would belong to only one mesh. Which mesh is that? It would belong only to mesh 2. It would not belong to mesh 1, mind you. Is this okay with you, everybody? Fine. So what does that mean? We have to, let's take a problem. Let's take one particular problem and let's see how this particular current source is going to behave. Is it going to help us or it is going to create more problems is what we need to look at. Okay, so let's say this is a 5-volt voltage source and this is 1 ampere source. Understand that? So let's say this is 1 ohm, this is 3 ohms and this is 2 ohms. Fine. What is being asked? What is being asked is the question. Okay. See here. Let's mark V0. Fine. And let's say we have a current here, right? Let's say we have a current here. So the question goes like this: find V0 and I0 by mesh analysis. By mesh analysis is something that we need to understand. Okay with this, everybody? Fine. This is the problem. Let's copy the same. Everybody do that. You can copy this. Yeah. So I'll take the same circuit again in the solution. Fine. Let me copy this and use the same in the solution. Fine. This is the solution. This is example number 1 we have taken. This is 1 ohm. This was 3 ohms. Okay. So let's take this as 1 ohm and 3 ohms. Fine. Now this is the solution. In the solution, what is that we are supposed to be doing? How many number of meshes are there? We are asked to find out I0 and V0, but I0 and V0 are not the mesh currents. In mesh analysis, we need to find out the mesh currents. Okay. So we need to find out the mesh current. So for that, what we need to do? We need to mark the mesh currents. Okay. See here. Let's do this. Everybody, I hope you've been doing this along with me. So this is one mesh where IA is flowing. Okay. This is another mesh where IB is flowing. So IA and IB were not given, mind you. IA and IB are marked in the solution so that we can find out the mesh currents, and then we can find out V0 and I0 in terms of the mesh currents IA and IB. Is that okay? So first thing that you would say is, what is that? You would say mark currents. Which currents are they? Mesh currents. Okay. IA and IB as shown. This is the first thing you would say, because you have to mark it first. We have marked. Now what we will do, see here, one thing that you should understand is there are two meshes. There are two meshes, but how many KVLs we need to be applying is the question. Now everybody very carefully understand this note that I'm going to give you now. Okay. Now KVL is not applied. KVL is not applied to a mesh where mesh current is known. Mesh current is known. This is very important thing that we need to remember. What is that? The note that I've been giving you is that we are not supposed to enter. What is that? We're not supposed to apply KVL to the meshes where the mesh current is known. Now let's understand this. There is IA. Do we know IA? No. Now come to mesh 2. We have marked IB and there is a current source here. Okay, where is this IB flowing? Don't you think this IB is flowing through these 3 ohms? Yes or no? Yes. See, this IB is flowing through these 2 ohms as well as it will flow through 3 ohms, and in this branch also it will come. So IB is flowing to the right in this branch, whereas this 1 ampere is flowing to the left. Everybody understand that point? What does that mean? We have IB flowing to the right and we have 1 ampere flowing to the left through 3 ohms. So don't you think we know IB then? So anybody, can you comment what is IB there? What is IB? IB is flowing to the right through 3 ohms, whereas this 1 ampere current source is showing the current 1 amp flowing to the left. That means IB is, what is that? If there is a current source. Okay. So what we should say here is, by observation, we have to be good with observation. What is that we need to observe? By observation, what is IB? IB is minus 1 amps. Very important. What we have got now is very important thing. Okay. Now, since we have already found out the current in mesh 2, what is that we are not doing in mesh 2? What is that we are not doing in mesh 2? Anybody, can you unmute and answer this question? Are we applying KVL to mesh 2 is the question. You have to answer that by looking at this particular KVL. What is this particular note telling you? This tells you that KVL is not applied to the mesh where the mesh current is known. Now see, mesh current here is known now. IB is known. So when IB is known, we are not applying KVL to mesh 2. Why do we apply KVLs in mesh analysis? We apply KVL in mesh analysis to find the mesh currents. So if we know the mesh current in any of the meshes, we don't apply KVL to that particular mesh. As simple as that. Get that? So we know IB is minus 1 amperes because IB is moving downwards and I1 is moving upwards. So we can say IB is minus 1 ampere. Since we know the current here, we don't apply KVL to mesh 2. So I'll be applying KVL to only mesh 1. Okay. So therefore, you can just, this is just for your observation. This is just for your observation. Okay. Since IB is known, no need to apply KVL to mesh 2. Okay, this is just for your reference. Since we are learning, this need not be written in the exam. Okay, so you have to just write, by observation IB is minus 1 amperes, and since we know this is minus 1 amperes, I'll be applying KVL only to mesh 1. So what is KVL to mesh 1 now? Everybody, can you apply KVL to mesh 1? Everybody go on. Applying KVL to mesh 1. KVL to mesh 1. Yeah, go on everybody, apply KVL, write IB as IB only, then we shall go for substituting that. Okay, so how does it look like? It starts here. See here, it starts here. Since there is a minus sign in this 5 volts, we write this as minus 5 volts. Okay, and this I'll write as IA into 1 amp. Sorry, IA into 1 ohm. 1 into IA, and this is 2 into IA minus IB since I'm operating in where? Mesh 1. Okay, so that we need to write now. Fine. So what is that? We have to write is, it's minus 5, okay, plus 1 into IA plus 2 into IA minus IB, okay, 2 into minus IA, sorry, 2 into IA minus IB, and algebraic sum of these three voltages in mesh 1 should be 0. Now, what do we know here? What do we know? We know what? We know IB. Okay? Substitute IB equal to minus 1 amp. This implies that minus 5 plus IA plus 2IA minus 2 minus 1 equal to 0. Is this okay with you? Minus of minus would become, yeah, this looks good. So how many IAs there? How many IAs there? There are 3 IAs. I hope everybody is working it out along with me. So it's 3 IA. Fine. So on the right side, what you would be having? It's 5 plus 2, right? On the right hand side, it would be 7. So this implies that our IA is 7 by 3 amps. So we have now what we have done. We have found out the mesh currents IA and IB. Again, I am telling you, we were not asked to find out mesh currents, but we have found out mesh currents because they had asked us to find out I0 and V0 by mesh analysis. In mesh analysis, whether they ask or not, we have to find out the mesh currents. Now, can you now give me these V0 and I0 in terms of the mesh currents? Can you see this and tell me? Yeah. Can you see this and tell me? Anybody, if you have questions, you can unmute and ask. Okay.
Sir?
Yeah.
Sir?
Yeah, tell me, Zishan.
Sir, in the last equation you wrote, it is minus 2 into minus 1, no, sir?
Minus 2 into minus 1. Yeah, it's minus 2 into minus 1.
So that will be plus 2.
This will be plus 2. Okay, yeah. This will be plus 2. So it would be plus 2 here, and it would be minus 2. It would be, this would be 2. 7
No,
would
sir,
be
that
2
will
here.
be 3.
7 would be
No,
3.
sir, 3. 3.
Yeah,
3 by
7
3.
would be 3. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for that.
Okay.
I'll just yeah. If it is 3, what would that be? So if it is 3, this IA would become 1 amp. Is this okay, Zishan? Zishan, is this okay?
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Yeah, thanks, boy.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Yeah, good. Now, Zishan, just help me out, man. Can you give me what
Yes,
is I0 in terms of the mesh currents? What is I0 in terms of mesh currents?
I0, sir?
Yeah. What can I express I0 as in terms of the mesh currents? Or anybody
I0
else?
is
I0 is? Yeah. See, just look at this.
Minus IA.
Yeah. I0 is minus IA. Zishan, just look at this. Where
Yes,
is
sir.
I0
It's on
flowing?
opposite direction.
Where is I0 flowing? It's flowing to the left in this 1 ohm, right? And where is
Yes,
this
sir, it's in
IA
the opposite
flowing?
direction.
IA is also flowing through this 1 ohm, but in opposite direction. So I0 is minus IA. Okay. So
Yes.
I0
Yes,
is, that's a simple stuff. You need to just observe it properly. So I0 is minus IA. Okay. Then what is this V0? Zishan, you only. Zishan, you only.
Yes, sir.
Take this.
Yes,
How
sir.
to express this V0 in terms of IA and IB? What is V0
V0 in terms of?
IA and IB? It's, what is V?
We know that
IR.
V0 is equal to 2 into IA minus IB.
Why IA minus IB? Why not IB minus IA?
Sir, IA is of mesh A and IB is of mesh B. So
No.
IB is flowing in the opposite direction.
No. It's not that. Observe this, everybody. Get to know the reason. IA is positive here because IA is approaching the positive sign of V0. Getting this, Zishan?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
IA is approaching positive sign of V0 and IB is approaching negative sign of V0. That is why we give IA minus IB. If the polarities were inverted, suppose this is minus and this is plus, IB would be approaching positive, IA would be approaching negative. So in that case, I would have given it as IB minus IA. Understand the
Sir,
reason
what if the
there?
polarities are not given, sir?
Polarities has to be given. If the polarities are not given, it's incomplete. You cannot solve the problem. Get that point,
In
everybody?
previous problems and all, sir, V0 polarity was not given.
The polarities are given everywhere. Without the polarities, you cannot find out V0. Sorry, I don't think that's. Maybe you have missed. See how V0 plus minus is given. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So wherever you go without the polarities, the V0 cannot be found out. Is that okay with you? So can you give me
Yes,
I0 and V0, everybody? Go on. I0 and V0. Calculate that and give me the answer. Yeah. So I0 is minus IA. That means this implies that our I0 is minus 1 amp. Is this okay? So I0 is minus 1 amp. And V0 is what? V0 is 2 into 1 minus of minus 1. Is this okay with you, everybody? So therefore, our V0 would be 2 to the 4. It's 4 volts. Is this okay, everybody? IB is minus 1. So minus of minus. Okay, so 1 plus 1, 2, 2 to the 4. Is this okay? So this is how we calculate I0 and V0 in mesh analysis. Is this okay with you? Now, let me just take Neha KR. Can you come out? Neha KR, can you unmute yourself, please? Neha, you are there? No? Purvika, can you unmute yourself? Purvika, you are there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Purvika, just let's have this discussion. Just tell me, now having this 1 ampere is an advantage or disadvantage? We have this 1 amp on the periphery, right? So having this 1 amp on the boundary, okay, is advantage or disadvantage? I'm asking you to compare this particular case wherein we didn't have any current source, okay, and this particular case where we have a current source. So having a current source is advantages or disadvantages, Purvika?
Sir, I think it's advantage.
Yeah, can you just elaborate that, how it could be advantageous?
So maybe because we can estimate one of the current in mesh.
Yeah.
That is, we got to know IB.
We got to know IB. Good. In other words, okay, what we can say is, see, the number of KVLs are reducing. How many KVLs we had here? See here, how many KVLs we had? There are no current sources, mind you. Okay, there are 3 meshes, so we mark 3 currents. And do we know any currents here? No, all the 3 currents are unknowns. So there are 3 currents. We had to have 3 KVLs, mind you, 3 KVLs. And we had to solve 3 equations. But whereas here what's happening, we have 2 meshes, 2 currents we have marked, but we are applying 1 KVL. That means the KVL is getting reduced. KVL getting reduced means you can reach the answer at less time. Getting it? Purvika, is that okay with you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, everybody understand this is an advantage. How it is an advantage? The number of KVLs is reduced, the answer you can get at a faster time. Understand that? See here, we have 2 equations, sorry, we have 2 meshes, but how many KVL problem is this? I'll be asking you how many KVL problem is this? You should say it's 2 mesh, but 1 KVL problem. 1 KVL, why the number of KVLs are reduced? The number of KVLs are reduced because there is a current source on the periphery. Is that okay with you, everybody? So this is an advantage. Let us take another problem of the same sort. Everybody copy this fast. Okay. Problem number 2. Problem number 2. Again, this is type 2. Which is type 2? Having a current source on the boundary. Okay. Yeah. Let's take this problem now. Problem number 2. Copy this fast, everybody. You have to be fast copying it. Yeah. So this is what the problem is. Okay. So 2 milliamps is this. Fine. 4 milliamps is this. Then this is 4K, 4 kilo ohms, 2 kilo ohms. This is 4 kilo ohms again. And this is 6 kilo ohms. And you have another source here. Okay. So unless we mark the arrow or the polarities, you cannot say whether this is current source or what? The voltage source. Fine. Okay. Now this is 3 volts. The problem is find the mesh currents. They have not asked you anything else. They have asked you to find out the mesh currents. We'll take the same problem and maybe we'll find something else. Okay, but in this problem you have to just solve for the mesh currents. Now I'll take one more person. Is there anybody who can volunteer? Who would like to volunteer? Raghavendra, can you come out, man? Raghavendra.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Raghavendra, let's have discussions here. Raghavendra, now in the previous problem we have seen we had 2 meshes, 2 currents. Okay, we had 1 current source. Okay, what was the advantage there? How many KVL problem was that? How many KVL? It was 2 current, 2 mesh, but 1 KVL problem. Yes. Now, similarly, can you tell me how many meshes are here?
3 meshes.
There are 3 meshes. Fine. So 3 meshes means 3 mesh currents. Yes. Agree with that? Okay. So let me mark that. Just be there. Okay. Let us have discussions. So I'll mark these mesh currents. Fine. Let me start marking from here. So this is, let this be our IA. Let this be our IB, and this be our IC. Okay, 3 currents. And mind you, we can start our IA from here. IA, IB, IC. There is no problem with the naming. Where should our IB where should our IB come? Where should our IC come? There's no problem. Okay. Now, Raghavendra, tell me, man, which currents do we know? Do we know any currents here?
Yeah, IA and IB.
IA and IB are known. So it's a 3 mesh circuit. How many KVL problem?
Single KVL.
Single
Yeah,
KVL. Very good. That's it. Where we are applying that KVL?
Or IC.
No, you should not say IC. That's why I asked you this question. Where we have to apply the KVL. The KVL is always applied to a closed path, and that closed path here is mesh 3. How do we know this is mesh 3? Raghavendra? No, logical question. How do we know this is mesh 3? Since this is our first current, so this is our third current, so this is our third mesh. Okay, so this is how we refer to. Everybody is okay with that? Now let's take this. Before we go, just tell how many So since we know the mesh currents IA and IB, okay, we'll be applying only KVL to only mesh 3. So how to proceed is this. We will be marking the currents, okay, and we'll be applying by observation. We should first tell the currents which we know. By observation we are doing that. By observation, what is true is this. What is true by observation? By observation we can say IA is, what is IA now? See here, this 2 milliamperes is moving downwards in this particular branch, and in that branch IA would be moving upwards. Okay, so what does that mean? So IA is minus 2 milliamps. So one current we know. What is IB? We know IB also. What is IB? See, in this branch, this 4 milliamp is flowing to the right in this branch. Okay, and IB also is moving to the right in this branch. So what would be our IB? Our IB would be 4 milliamperes. IB is 4 milliamps. So how many KVL problem? This is one KVL problem. So which mesh we are applying KVL to? We are applying KVL to mesh 3. Okay. So apply KVL to mesh 3, everybody. KVL to mesh 3. Okay. How does it look like? I'll just write that here and I'll copy it down there. So how does the KVL look like? See here, everybody. So let's move from this 4K. Okay. So it's 4 kilo into IC minus IA. Why IC minus IA? Why not IA minus IC? Because IC is positive in mesh 3. We are operating in mesh 3, right? So current in mesh 3 would be positive and the other current would be negative. Because IC is moving upwards in this here, IC is moving upwards and IA is moving downwards. So it's 4K into IC minus IA. Now we move ahead and go to this 2K. So it's plus 2K plus 2K, okay, into IC minus IB. Then comes this, then comes this. We have finished this, then comes this. So 6K into IC. So we can say 6K into IC. Okay, then minus 3 we have. So minus 3. Minus 3 we have means when we are moving in this direction, we are coming across minus sign. So we will say minus 3. Okay, so what we will have? We will have all these, the algebraic sum of these 4 voltages. Voltage across 4K, voltage across 2K, voltage of 6K, and this. Okay, all this together, the algebraic sum of all this should give you 0. Fine. So let me copy it over there. Everybody just in that equation, just substitute IA and IB and get your answers. Okay, so this is how it is. It's IC. It's IC minus 3 equal to 0. Let me delete. Yeah. Now substitute IA and IB. What is IA? IA is minus 2 milli and IB is 4 milli. So you should say substituting IA and IB implies what? 4K into IC. IC minus of minus, it says so it would be plus 2 milli plus 2k IC minus 4 milli, okay, plus 6k into IC minus 3 equal to 0. So wherever you multiply this k and m, this is milli, this is k. So this k and milli goes off. They cancel each other. Kilo and milli multiplied, they cancel each other. Okay, 10 power 3 divided by 10 power minus 3, or 10 power minus 3 into 10 power 3. Understand that? Okay, so tell me what would happen here. So what would be our IC? Anybody? After you do that? Anybody, if you can calculate that, okay? So after calculation, you'll get your IC to be 0.25 milliamps. 0.25 milliamps. Fine. If you've not given your attendance, you can give it now. Okay. So let's stop here.